During a crazy moment in a motorcycle race, an Italian racer pulled the brake of an opponent going at 130 miles per hour. Even though what he did was extremely dangerous, he only got a 2-race suspension for his actions. Sometimes soccer players can become sort of actors. During a match Brazil versus Belgium, professional footballer Neymar did a performance that was way overreacted, which even started the Neymar Challenge.
Dá vantagem seu juiz, dá vantagem pro Neymar, pegaram ele no caminho. E agora, seu juiz?
Sal Alosi was a New York Jets coach who was caught cheating when he tripped a player from Miami in the middle of a game. He later was suspended by the NFL and fined $25,000 for his actions. In a not-so-smart flop from LeBron James, he actually flops on his teammate and even took the time to look behind to make sure he had space to do so.
And I think they thought it was... And it's Tristan Thompson who hits LeBron James, not Damari Carroll. Kenny Maurer thought it was Carroll. And hopefully, as they look at the replay, they can...
During the Women's U20 World Cup, one of the footballers made a dive in an attempt to get a penalty, which obviously didn't work. During another motorcycle race, one of the racers made a very dangerous attempt at cheating by kicking his opponent's motorcycle at very high speeds. In a hilarious attempt at cheating, a soccer player from Chile grabbed his opponent's hand and hits himself with it, something never before seen in soccer history.
Casi que Carrasco le llevó a Montaño a la mano, fíjate lo que hace Carrasco. Por favor, Carrasco.
During a beach volleyball game, one of the players tried moving the line with his foot to avoid the ball landing outside the line, which obviously didn't end up working out for him. When the referees were distracted in a football match by taking measurements, one of the players tried to cheat his way into a first down by very sneakily tapping the ball with his foot. In a kind of hilarious moment that later resulted in a fine for both players, LeBron James and David West double flopped in a kind of ridiculous manner. During a professional football match, one of the players of the team in yellow managed to push the goalie without the ref noticing, but somehow the team still managed to not score. Okay, maybe this doesn't count as a sport, but here's an example of why cheaters never prosper.
Bruh.
Okay, this one is obviously impossible to see in real time, but the athlete from Cuba did a world record for the 100 meters hurdles, and it was a very close call between him and the Chinese player. And well, for a minute, everyone thought he won, but when the slow-motion footage came in, it was clear the Cuban player was kind of pushing the Chinese player intentionally.
As well, but he got there. Richardson was right there as well. He looked as though it was at the mercy. It enabled Jason Richardson, the Americans, come through and take silver. Bronze for Liu Zhang, and Andy Turner running on the far side there from lane 1. He finished in 4th place in 13.44, same time as David Oliver, but on the photo finish he gets the nod just ahead of Oliver.
Okay, I kind of feel bad for the honest athletes on this one, but an entire country was actually banned from the Olympics and all global sports, including the World Cup for 4 years, for having many controversies with doping, and that country is Russia. The executive decision was made after the country was found to have tampered with laboratory data. And well, this is an issue that's been going on for years. An example of this is the drama that happened in the 2016 Olympics between US swimmer Lily King and Russian swimmer Yulia Efimova. Yulia is a Russian athlete who received a ban for doping before the 2016 Olympics and managed to successfully appeal it, which sparked some feud between US rival Lily King.
I do not think she should be allowed to swim. She is tested positive for a banned substance on 2 separate occasions.
And I see her touch the wall and kind of throw up a #1 in the air, and I was being myself and being very goofy, and I saw it on the TV, and I was kind of like, hey.
Is that fearless and confident? Awesome.
After a very exaggerated flop from NBA player Corey Brewer, he was fined $5,000 for his actions.
And puts it up and in with an athletic catch, and it's 32-24. And that's all on Dante Jones. Yep. The Fowler's foul. I think it's a foul, but I think Corey Brewer may get a call.
Okay, this one is quite a ridiculous. The famous former soccer player Diego Maradona once used in a very sneaky way his hand to score, and it actually worked. And well, not sure if this other footballer took inspiration from that event, but he did try to score using his hand in a not-so-sneaky way that actually cost him a yellow card. In probably one of the most dramatic flops in the NBA, Tony Allen threw himself to the ground, despite not being touched. The swimmer's Sun Yang, who has a bit of a reputation for being kinda cocky and sometimes even rude to opponents,
Second gold medal of these championships. It is. Wow. Listen to this.
was found guilty of taking forbidden substances and got an 8-year ban from the Olympics. Okay, this one was quite a complicated way of cheating, but during an esports tournament of Formula E, one of the players decided to cheat in a strange way by hiring someone to drive for him. This was quite obvious by the fact he managed to place 3rd, after in the last races being in the 9th place. And well, also his face wasn't showing due to a monitor covering it.
Microphone every single time, so unfortunately we were never able to see Daniel's face.
Plus, to make things worse, in the top 3 winners interview after the race, he didn't show up because according to him he was having connectivity issues. The consequences of this was a €10,000 fine and was suspended by Audi. Another dive that was performed by famous soccer player Neymar was one in which he actually managed to fool the referee, costing the opponent a yellow card. In an ultra-marathon, which is a 56-mile run, the top 10 people to finish the race were going to get a nice cash prize. And well, in an interesting turn of events, it was found out that the 9th place winner, Sergio Matsoning, didn't actually run the whole race. So how did he do it? He and his twin brothers plotted a plan in which they switched places several times during the race. One of the pieces of evidence that helped prove this allegation was that the brothers, every time they switched, the electronic watch for the race switched places too. When a soccer match is getting close to the end, it's normal for the winning soccer team to kind of waste time to avoid making any mistake that leads to a goal from the opposite team. And well, this goalkeeper took it to an extreme by secretly untying his shoe. After a flop, NBA player Lance Stevenson decided to just play dead, which was actually pretty funny to watch. During a big League of Legends event, one of the players was caught glancing at the audience screen, which gave his team an advantage because it showed where the opposite team is. And even though it doesn't seem much, there was millions of dollars on the line, and the player was fined $30,000 for that glance. Okay, this is perhaps one of the craziest cheating stories in sports, but a figure skater named Nancy Kerrigan was attacked by a random man who used a baton to injure her leg. Later, it was found out that the attack was orchestrated by the husband of her figure skating teammate Tonya Harding. According to Tonya, she didn't have anything to do with the planning of the attack, but still, all things considered, it was very suspicious. And well, when they were found guilty, Tonya was fined $100,000, given 3 years probation and 500 hours of community service. When an umpire at a baseball match saw a weird substance on baseball player Will Smith's arm, they immediately stopped the game and checked what it was. It turned out to be a combination of sunscreen and rosin, which implies he used a sticky substance for a better grip. When interviewed after, Will Smith claimed he just had it on before the match and forgot to wipe it, which seemed quite suspicious to say the least.